And hello, one and all. Welcome to the Apptrepreneur Show. I am your host, Kevin, the Apptrepreneur, and we're a little later starting than we usually are. So I'm terribly sorry about that. I decided to start tweeting out these live shows, see if that makes a bit of a difference to people who want to come and join us. So anyway, I'm sorry about that, but hey, we're getting on. So hey, we've got Naz here. Thank you. Anyway, welcome to the Apptrepreneur Show. This is your near daily dose of apps, technology, and even a little bit of entertainment. And we have got a little bit of everything. And in fact, I am even going to state this right now because I know a lot of people come. I know more people come when I highlight like a rideshare story. Now, yesterday's episode had a pretty good turnout, despite having no rideshare stories. This one's going to have two. But because it's my show and because I want you to stay for the entire thing, we're going to start with the first story now, and I'm going to do the second story later. At the end, it'll be the last story. So if you want to see both of them live, you're just going to have to stay for the whole thing, or you can watch the cut-up videos tomorrow. It is it Wednesday or is it Thursday? It's Wednesday. So yeah, there will be cut-up episodes tomorrow. So anyway, hey Ryan, hey Noah, from Phoenix, welcome. It's pretty hot over there, I hear. It's pretty hot here. In fact, it dawns on me, I forgot to turn the AC on. I hope it doesn't get too hot in here. That would be really, really bad. So anyway, hey, I see we have 14 people here. If you can do me a favor, if you can hit that thumbs up button, that would be great. It really helps. But we've got a packed show today. So let's get started. And our first main topic is going to be about Lyft drivers, because I was doing some reading about, Uber and Lyft. I mean, I still check them daily to see if there's any newsworthy items to discuss on the show. The last couple days, there really hasn't been anything going on with them. However, there has been some complaints recently on social media, particularly from Lyft drivers, that they are being deactivated from Lyft, and there's a huge suspicion that the common denominator is that they are not driving for Lyft during the COVID-19 pandemic. Now, this story comes to us from the Rideshare Guy blog, which, by the way, if you are still an active Uber driver, probably more important than my channel, the Rideshare Guy blog. This guy, Harry Campbell, he and his reporters are on top of things. They still drive. They still do their research. Well, I don't know if Harry drives, but like his reporters do when they do the research, and they have very compelling articles like this one, which we are going to look over. And the headline is, "Some Lyft drivers are getting deactivated for no reason." This is from Paula Gibbons. Now, the opening comment is concerning because it says, "Recently, we heard from many drivers who had recently been deactivated from Lyft for seemingly no reason." And by the way, I still get emails from people saying, "I've been deactivated from Lyft and Uber for no reason. What do I do?" And I'm a little bit more cynical now, as you can probably tell. My official response, if you get deactivated, is you move on. Really, there's not much you can do at this point. You move on. I don't know what you want me to tell you. I can't help you get back on. I mean, if a guy who was making $2,000 to $3,000 a week and made Uber his life can't get reactivated with the help of a lawyer, allegedly, then there's not a whole lot of hope for you. But this article is still concerning if you are driving for Lyft, because this is probably a good hint that you should start looking for other things anyway. But what they all had in common was not driving during the pandemic. Then recently logging on only to be notified they had been deactivated for safety concerns, despite not recently driving. Is something going on here? Senior Rideshare Guy contributor Paula Gibbons investigated drivers' claims to see exactly what's happening. Now, I don't know how much of this article I'm going to read, but there's some very, very important details there. So, experienced drivers with very good ratings seem to be getting deactivated for no actual reason as of late. The excuses on Lyft's part range from safety concerns to poor ratings, and whatever else they can make up for any individual. So far, we have identified 12 instances of this, but there are probably many, many more. Why do we think these are excuses? Well, based on what the drivers have told me, they have not been driving since the pandemic started and have had great ratings and reviews from their passengers for the duration of working on Lyft's platform. Something is not adding up, so let's dig into it. And by the way, they also add some links on, if you've been unfairly deactivated, you could probably try this, but it's not likely you're going to get reactivated. So what drivers are saying about wrongful Lyft deactivation. I spoke with 2 drivers whose names I have changed to avoid any possible backlash for speaking out against their recent deactivations. We'll call them Roger and Betty. Roger drives in the Chicago area and Betty drives in the NYC suburbs, mainly Long Island. Roger received a deactivation notice from Lyft via email and immediately wondered what had happened. He hadn't driven for Uber or Lyft or any other app since the coronavirus pandemic started in the U.S. Lyft cited safety concerns as the issue and the reason for the deactivation. Roger said, "They kept saying they'd reviewed my account and found many safety concerns. That's when I knew it was bogus." Roger had a 5-star rating with Lyft before he took the driving break for the pandemic. If it's safety concerns based on passenger feedback, why wasn't he given 1-star ratings? Or ratings that were at least lower than 5 stars. By the way, a 5-star average grade on Uber and Lyft is very, very impressive. I believe passengers only have so many days to change their ratings, and it wouldn't be something that would change 3 months later. It's a dirty rat thing they are doing. They could have gone about this a much better way. It seems to me like they are cleaning house. Since he was deactivated, Roger wasn't able to get a screenshot of his ratings or anything else, covering up the evidence, it appears. When they deactivate you, all that is just gone immediately. Now, maybe there's a case to be made that you should periodically be screen capturing your ratings in case they do decide to deactivate you for safety concerns. But again, they hold the cards and, they could honestly say like, well, those were the ratings before you got deactivated, so they don't count anymore. You had new ratings, but you can't check those new ratings. Isn't that lovely? So anyway, he did show Paula his current Uber ratings and showed that he has a better than average ratings in the app, so it would stand to reason he had terrific ratings on Lyft's platform as well. This is what his ratings look like, by the way. 92%, 0%, 4.95. His description is high energy and personable. Over 6,000 trips in the last 2 years. That seems like a pretty good driver. So, now let's talk about Betty a little bit. Her story is very similar in that she stopped driving for all platforms back at the end of February. Her last day driving for Lyft was February 21, 2020, and at that time, she had a 4.94 rating, which is also very good. Betty said, "Lyft sends weekly feedback, and it just so happens I save all of them, so good for her. I checked all of them. All are positive without anything listed under where you can improve, with the exception of when I first started driving in May 2017. There were only a few negative rides, and these rides occurred when I first started." When she received her deactivation notice, Betty took action. She was sure it had been a mistake and wanted to get it straightened out. Here's what she received back from Lyft. So this is what's going to happen if you are deactivated from Lyft during this pandemic, or really anytime, really. This is the response you're going to get. "Hello, Betty. Thank you for taking time to respond. I can respect your dedication and attention to the matter, and I want you to know that we appreciate the time you put into driving with Lyft. But," that's my adding, I'm adding, "but please note that the decision to deactivate your driver account has been reviewed multiple times," I'm sure it was, "and at the highest level. Yeah. This will remain final regardless of any additional outreach. It saddens us to know that you have been deactivated from the Lyft platform." Really? It saddens you? "We don't know if this might have had a great impact on your daily life." Actually, you probably would know depending on how many rides she gave. So if she's doing a lot of rides, then you can bet it does. "But we would want to let you know that we are trying our best to provide the best resolution with this predicament. right after they just said that there would be no further review or change to this. However, we have our Lyft policies to abide by, which leaves us powerless to reactivate your account. We are asking for your understanding on this matter. Hope you have a lovely day. That's kind of like when you hear your boss fire you and say that we have to save the company, so we are cutting ties with you, even though you did perfectly good work with us. We hope you understand. And hey, you know what? Maybe in that situation it would be understandable, because hey, at least you would have gotten an explanation at that point. But no, it's affecting your daily life. So anyway, theories on what's really happening. Since drivers can't exactly respond to Lyft saying, "I don't believe your reasons for deactivating me, tell me what's really going on," we're left to speculate. There are a lot of theories going around as to why these seemingly random deactivations keep happening. For Betty, she was tagged once as having a dirty car. Betty said COVID-19 would be considered a safety issue in today's world, so it is possible that Lyft flagged all drivers with reports about dirty vehicles. So is it possible that Lyft flagged all drivers with reports about dirty vehicles? Just some food for thought. I mean, that's a possibility, and I agree with Paula here that is a stretch. But you do never know, because I mean, the only thing I will say that gives that one some credence is that if people see like a dirty car that's not been cleaned or washed recently, and they know like a bunch of people who potentially have COVID are breathing on it and touching it, and maybe the car's not being cleaned, maybe they would flag that, and that's now a safety issue because you're not sanitizing your car as much as you could be. So that might not be the most outrageous claim in the world. But here's the thing. It might make sense if they were driving right now and got flagged for something like that, but with not having been in their vehicle actively driving the platform since February, that doesn't make sense. So, Dustin is driving. Yay, Dustin, a little shout out for you. Is a YouTuber who posts videos about what's going on in the rideshare world as he actively drives. Well, I don't think he's actively driving right now. That's not a slam on you, Dustin, but I don't think you're actively driving. In a recent video called Uber and Lyft drivers are getting deactivated for following policy now, he calls out that several drivers seem to be getting deactivated during the pandemic for telling their passengers to follow the rule of wearing masks and only having 3 people per ride for the standard vehicle. Which I do want to say right now, though, the only reason I wouldn't be bringing this example up, not because I don't like Dustin, is because the people who are being deactivated are not driving during the pandemic. So if they're not driving for the pandemic, then they can't be deactivated for refusing passengers for not wearing masks, because guess what? You're you're not driving. So there you go. Under the comments of this video, I found a pair that caught my eye. And this person said, "I just got deactivated on Lyft with no reason. I wasn't driving for 4 months due to this virus. I'm a 5-star driver with 1.2 years in Lyft community. Just received email that your account got deactivated due to low rating. Safety policy reason. Hello, I wasn't driving. I was off the work. I was about to drive next month until it gets clear, but they shut me down." The same thing, and then someone else said, "The same thing just happened to me. I haven't driven in 3 months due to the virus, and I'm a 5-star driver." So this almost makes it seem like Lyft could be using the coronavirus as an excuse for deactivating inactive drivers, but other responses I found on Reddit refute that. This person said he didn't drive for more than 2 months. And this person says, "I haven't driven in over a year. My account is still active." But this person had a very similar reaction to Betty and Roger. We brought the question to the Facebook page and get with several sponsors from drivers citing the same kind of deactivation without real cause, and this is what it looks like. It says many of your recent passengers have separately raised serious safety concerns about your rides. Unsafe driving is a violation in terms of service. Whatever. So they have reached out for Lyft for comment and said they will reach back. Lyft always sends weekly messages to their drivers to show their highlights of the week and any concerns the driver should address. The fact that none of them had safety issues previously is very telling. Whatever Lyft is doing, they are making drivers very angry and some nervous. Those still on the platform can't help but wonder, will I be next? And of course, if you want to share your story, I mean, you can share it with Paula because she did an excellent job. And, I mean, sure, I could do a story about it, but, I'm doing something else now, but I did want to talk about this. And here's the thing. The only reason this isn't more shocking to me is because, frankly, Lyft and Uber have been deactivating people for no reason for a very, very long time. A very long time. And I would not be surprised if they are just starting to deactivate inactive drivers, especially during COVID-19, because they both offered to pay out sick time to people, of which they've done very, very little of. And, if someone's like being extra careful and they decide they want to go back into work and then they get sick, they might, try to sue Uber and Lyft. In fact, I've been reading about the upcoming stimulus package, like the second one, and I know that Senator Mitch McConnell wants to create a excuse me, folks, got a speck in my throat. I hate that. Sorry. Anyway, Senator Mitch McConnell wants to create an exemption for businesses and corporations that if someone gets sick on their premises, they can't sue the premises. So, for example, if you get sick in an Uber or Lyft car, you can't sue the driver or Uber or Lyft. If you get sick at Disneyland or at a movie theater, you can't sue AMC or Disney, which I don't completely agree with. I mean, I understand. I think people are responsible for their own actions, personally. I think that if you get sick going out there, it's because you were probably crowding and stuff like that, but at the same time, the threat of being sued is what's going to keep these companies diligent in sanitization. If there's no... Now, what does this have to do with what we're talking about? Well, here's what I think is going on. I think Lyft is deactivating drivers for not driving during COVID. Now, this one person did mention that they hadn't driven in a year and they were still activated. And for that matter, I'm still active to drive. I don't have the apps on my phone anymore, but I can, if I decide to re-download them and sign back in, I'd probably have to get my car re-inspected and upload the new insurance paper, but then I'd be right back on the road again. But what Lyft is doing, I think, is they are looking at the people who are active drivers until COVID hit, and then they stopped. And I think Lyft is being a little vindictive. But if you have not been driving for over a year, no special circumstances, I mean, that wasn't anything against you, but Lyft and Uber are definitely taking it personally that drivers are getting more independent, that they are demanding more, that they want their darn, standard of living wage paid. And they're getting sick of it. So I think, personal suspicion, can't prove it, don't quote me on it, that they are looking at the people who stopped driving during the COVID-19 crisis, and they are getting rid of them because it's like, hey, you know what? You're a problem. You are too much of a problem, and we don't have any need for you. So we will get you off, and once this thing's over, new drivers will come on, and they will not give us a problem. However, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe that's not it, and maybe we're all wrong. Maybe these situations are not related to COVID-19, but what do you think? I would love to know. Comment below, like, favorite, share, subscribe, and as always, flame responsibly. And let's look at, oh wow, we got like a lot of comments for this one, and Dustin's even in the house, and so hey, 34 people watching live. Hey, give it a thumbs up if you like it. Let's look at some of these comments now. I normally wait till at the end of the episode to respond to comments, because we got more stories to do, but clearly this struck a nerve. So anyway, Jesus' name, but we like a little bit of everything. I'm glad. So let's see here. Gold Money. I thought this channel was officially retired and you had started a new channel. No, well, I have new channels, but I haven't retired this one. I'm just retooling it. So Noah said, the mask policy is causing tons of arguments. My first ride with an issue. I totally believe that. Let's see here. Dustin says, well, Lyft is a side chick that no one cares about. Always have a backup plan. Yeah, but, for some people who got deactivated from Uber, Lyft is now the sugar daddy. So there you go. Let's see here. Iceman. Okay, there's a lot of stuff. Let's see here. Driver Steve says, maybe all drivers should just stop driving for these scam artist companies. Of course, that's only a pipe dream. Yeah, I agree. I think people should stop. But they're going to do what they're going to do. Amy says, I'm hearing if you made more than $50K a year or on unemployment and haven't driven in 3 months are the ones getting it, but I don't know how true that is. I don't know how true. If you could actually email me a source of an official Uber employee or not Uber, a Lyft employee. Because we're talking about Lyft saying something like that. That would be very fascinating. I don't know why they would single that person out though, because if you're making $50K a year, keep in mind Lyft is collecting 20 to 40% of that. Why wouldn't they want at most half of what you're earning? That's a lot of money for them. Let's see here. Iceman says, has Lyft sent you a letter or email saying that riders have to wear masks? Yes, they have. Let's see here. Hey, Teddy, how you doing? He says, this is troubling news about the deactivations. Well, it's troubling, but here's the thing. It's not new. It really isn't. I mean, it's so common that there's an Uber tuber who reports from his little hub, if you will. He gets deactivated by Lyft every single week. I'm totally being sarcastic, of course. That guy is not a real channel. But anyway, but the reality is, people have been getting deactivated for a very, very long time. And for arbitrary reasons, it's very common. I mean, we would like to act like this is an outlier, something outside of the realm of what is usual, but it's not. It really is not. So, Joe says, who wants to drive for so little money and get sick too? A few people, actually. So, anyway. So, yeah. Alright, so there's our, hey, Driver Man's here too. Welcome, Driver Man. We have to get you back on the... Driver Man, it kind of dawns on me as I do this. I would have really liked to have you on the show today. I think this would have been a very, very interesting discussion. But yeah, we need to have you on again. So anyway. Alright, folks. So, with that out of the way, let's talk about main topic number 2. And main topic number 2, which is not the second rideshare story, that's coming at the end of the episode, is that in a world of streaming options where we have more and more, we have yet another one that has launched today, and that is Peacock. Yes, Peacock. I still hate that name. Peacock. Although I do like the fact that I can say Peacock, and this is still a G-rated show, technically. I do like that, but it's a stupid name. And here's what's also funny. They don't have, the Peacock logo. This is why they called it Peacock, because it's an NBC channel, and this is their logo. They've got a peacock. So they decided to be cute, and they were going to call Peacock after that peacock, but they don't have the peacock logo. Anyway, that's kind of a small thing in the grand scheme of things. So I was playing with Peacock. That sounded so wrong. I was playing with Peacock. Oh, I'm having too much fun this episode. I was doing a live stream last night on this channel, first impressions of the service, and we were kind of looking through the interface, the offerings that they had for the movies. I, for the record, have the highest tier, so I have access to everything. Peacock is free, but if you want certain movies and if you want everything to have no ads, or most things to have no ads, you have to pay for it. I paid for it before my current financial situation, so I'm hoping Peacock will provide a lot of entertainment over the next year, because I'm not buying a whole lot more. But here's the thing. I was researching Peacock all morning. Fun thing of doing my job now is I'm on Peacock all day, looking at shows and movies and playing with the interface. Discovered something I didn't discover early this morning, which I now have to add to the first impressions when it goes up on the vlogs channel. And my initial impression is it's okay. It's weird that the selection is very bizarre. For example, they have Shrek 1 on Peacock, but they don't have the other 3 Shrek movies. Likewise, they have one Land Before Time movie on Peacock, but they don't have all 14 or the TV series. And the movie isn't even the first Land Before Time, it's movie number 7. Because, why? Because I don't know why. They do have a section dedicated to Alfred Hitchcock, which is nice, but they don't have all of his movies. They have, like, some of his greatest hits, except for, like, North by Northwest, and, maybe that'll get filled in a little later. When I look at, like, the movie descriptions, it's interesting. They list the first few actors, and they have, like, a movie description, but they don't tell you who directed the film, and they don't tell you, like, if it won any awards or not. There's a few Best Picture winners on there. Like, they have The Sting on there, which won, like, 7 Oscars, including Best Picture and Director. You'd think they'd brag about that, but they don't. They just don't. They do have the Rotten Tomatoes score, which I've never really understood. Why are they putting the Rotten Tomatoes score on these movie listings? Because if the Rotten Tomatoes score is high, yeah, of course it's going to encourage you to watch the movie. But if it's low, isn't it also going to encourage you not to watch the movie? Like, why would they do that? I mean, it seems like it shouldn't be that important. Interestingly, I spent the most time in the kids section because it was fascinating to see, like, a lot of old cartoons that had only survived, like, 1 season and then you'd never heard from them again showing up again on a major streaming service. Like, they had the Beethoven animated series. Like, Beethoven. Like, why? And then I found out Ivan Reitman produced that thing. Like, the Ghostbusters director? He produced the Beethoven cartoon? But it lasted 1 season and 26 episodes. They have Fievel's American Tales. This was a TV series based on an American tale. It only lasted 1 season, 13 episodes, and I think there was like a couple VHS tapes of a few episodes released. Otherwise, nothing, and it's on here. Interestingly, the movies aren't, but they are. What's also funny is that Universal has like a lot of great family movies. They have like Coraline, and they've got like that We're Back movie. They've got some Amblimation stuff. They've got some Steven Spielberg films. Almost none of these are on the service, even though they own them. But someone decided Barney's Great Adventure was worth watching, putting on the Peacock streaming service. Which, I guess I can watch Barney's Great Adventure, the movie, in widescreen finally. Like, I don't know. I don't know. They didn't have a lot. There were a lot of DreamWorks movies that were not on there, even though NBC Universal bought DreamWorks Animation. So the content is really slim right now, but of course it's new. And I will say there's probably some logic to the madness because they can put stuff up slowly. And I actually think I did go through the entire catalog of what's on there. And they'll probably just add more. I mean, I know that when HBO Max launched, there was so much on there. Same thing with Disney Plus, that I got lost pretty darn fast about where to go. And that's going to be like a real telling point, because as more and more of these services come out, they start putting, like, we're talking about thousands of movies and shows online. And how do you sort them, and how do you do it effectively? I don't think that they found a way. In fact, the weirdest thing that Peacock did is when you scroll down, they have like a list of highlights from like genres like thrillers, horror, and they have all movies. And you can go right, but then you hit a dead end. It won't go right anymore. And this was especially weird when I went to like all movies or all TV shows, and I went right and I wouldn't get through like A. And it's like, okay, what's going on? What happens is at the beginning of it, you have to swipe your remote left, and then a little button will appear, and there's no indication this button is there. But the button will appear, and it will say, Browse All, and you click on that, and then there's everything in alphabetical order. So that wasn't very obvious. And here's the other thing, though. Like, as more and more stuff, like, it takes forever to scroll down these things, and so at some point, it's going to be such a hassle. Like, they're going to have to start, like, adding, like, a letter. I don't know. And considering Universal's big thing with, like, directors and stuff, it is weird that they're not crediting the directors for, you know, these movies and these shows. Like, that just seems really very, very weird to me. Also, it should be noted, and this is one of the reasons Peacock is actually trending. Peacock and Roku are trending because Peacock is not available on Roku or or no, it is on Apple TV. But it's not on Amazon Fire TV. That's what it is. So Amazon and Roku users are just SOL. They're just SOL. So, and it's, now as it says right now, it's free, but if you go down here and you say upgrade for more premium, you'll start seeing a lot of very popular shows and movies that really people would want to use Peacock for. And then, of course, you can pay more and get ads free. So anyway, my initial thoughts on Peacock is that it's all right. It's all right. I mean, it's one more streaming service. But I have to admit, out of all the streaming services that I've added recently, in the last year, I've gotten Disney Plus, and I've gotten the Criterion Channel, and we got HBO Max, and I signed up for Funimation now, which isn't technically new, but it's new to me. And one of the fun things that you do when you first get like a streaming service, it's kind of like a Christmas present. It's like a buffet. You go to the buffet and you start putting things in your watch list. And by the way, whenever you finish the watch list, you know that you're never going to watch all this stuff. There's just not enough time in your life to watch it. There's not enough time of the year. There's a lot more time to do it now because we're in shutdown again, essentially. But you put together a watch list, and it's like a buffet, and then you start slowly eating away at it, and usually the list just continues to grow and grow and grow, and then sometimes it's sobering when you look at that list and you realize, how many years has that movie been in the list, and maybe I should just finally watch it. I think I probably put 24 shows and movies on my Peacock watch list. Some of which are just there for curiosity's sake, like some of these kids' cartoons. Okay, I'll watch an episode or two of Beethoven just to see what it was like, but I mean, I watched one episode already, and it's not great, for example, so I'll probably take it off the list. So I will say, out of all the streaming services I've gotten the last year, Peacock has probably resulted in the least amount of watch list additions on day one compared to any of these other streaming services I got. So I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. That's like a pretty big, that's a red flag for me. That means that come the end of the year, if this doesn't improve much, then I'll probably just cancel the premium thing of Peacock. I probably will just cancel it. Like right now, it's new, and I can write it off as a business expense because I'm making videos like this. But for personal use, I'm not exactly sure if Peacock is going to stick around in my home for the long term. So, that's my little mini review of Peacock. But I do want to know, what do you think? Have any of you downloaded Peacock, free version, premium without ads, whatever version, and what are your thoughts on it so far? And were you aware of that swipe left for the browse all button? I cannot be the only person who did not see that. So anyway, I'd love to know what you think. Comment below, like, favorite, share, subscribe, and as always, flame responsibly. All right, I'm going to take a little sip. By the way, folks, if you haven't given a thumbs up yet, please do. I would definitely appreciate that. Hey, Dual Beacon Lighting is here, and so's Slicknick's KXP. He says, I remember the Beethoven cartoon. George was played by the late Dean Jones, who did Dr. Varnick in the movie. Oh, that's interesting. Because, yeah, I mean, I have, like, very vague memories of the Beethoven movie, but when I was watching it, it's like, none of them sounded familiar, except for the teenage daughter. Maybe she's the same. I don't know. Obviously Beethoven, but didn't talk in the movie, but he talks in the show. So anyway, it's like I said, it's a weird launch. But anyway, let's get to main topic number 3. And our third main topic involves another streaming service. This one, everyone is pretty much in agreement they don't like at all. In fact, I might even have to revise my previous statement that Peacock, I probably added the least amount of shows and movies to my Peacock watch list than any other streaming service I got recently, because that's actually not true now that I think about it. Because the one service that I was not adding almost anything onto my watch list was Kwibi. And that's probably because, the shows that I was interested in Kwibi, I could watch them in one sitting. There's no reason to put them in a watch list. But, so anyway, Kwibi has had a pretty rough go of things. If you know, they launched with great fanfare. It died very quickly. And after the 3-month free trial expired, over about 92% of the users canceled their subscription. And by the way, I'm one of them. I waited, and hey, I'm enjoying Reno 911. Not enough to keep the subscription service. I'll wait till it's finished, and I'll pay $5 to resubscribe to it and watch it, and then I'll cancel it. But Kwibi, in its current state, is not something I would want to keep long term. Now, that's not exactly why we're talking about it, but they finally have a win for once, because they were sued for I don't know what it was called. It was called like a turnstile or something. It's this thing that they do to swipe through the shows. And someone said that they owned a patent to that, and that Kwibi had infringed on it, and they took them to court. And, well, round one goes to Kwibi because the judge does not agree right now. So anyway, here's what it says. After months of scrutiny from outsiders over its business, Hollywood streaming service Kwibi on Monday got some legal relief. Tech rival Echo had accused Kwibi of infringing on a patent with a feature on its app called Turnstile. That's what it's called. It's called Turnstile. And asked an LA federal court judge to block Kwibi from using it. On Monday, Judge Christina A. Snyder denied the request for a preliminary injunction. In short, Echo fails to make a clear showing of irreparable harm suffered by way of reputation and goodwill. That Echo sued Kwibi in March for patent infringement and misappropriation of trade secrets. Echo said the Turnstile, which allows Kwibi users to rotate their smartphones to change their viewing perspectives on shows, copied Echo's technology. And of course, Kwibi denies this, and this is of course just a preliminary thing. They're gonna actually still go to court over this. Now, my question for this is, Echo, considering how awful Kwibi is doing right now, like just how awful they're doing, do you honestly think your Turnstile is worth much? In fact, if anything, maybe Kwibi shows that maybe this patent and technology wasn't worth anything, and you should honestly just move on. But anyway, some rare good news from Kwibi. At least a legal relief. Like I actually don't even know if Kwibi's going to survive long enough to get to their court date. But who knows? I'd like to know, what do you think about this? I'd love to know. Comment below, like, favorite, share, subscribe, and as always, flame responsibly. Have a good one. Now then, let's talk about main topic number 4. And the fourth main topic isn't necessarily a story. It's just something I've noticed. Now, we're going to get a little personal, and I made a joke about a UberTuber who was who reported from his hub earlier in the video. And you all know who I'm talking about. This person basically has no credit in the rideshare community because he's deactivated from Lyft every single week. He has the same topics that he uploads every single week. Sometimes it's with a different person, but it's always the same thing. And he's basically, what he's doing is he's clickbaiting the algorithm. He's clickbaiting the algorithm because if he gets this popular topic, he doesn't want to just be the number 1 video that comes up when you search that topic. He wants to be the 3rd, 4th, and 5th as well. He wants to cover that page. That's what he's trying to do. It's considered spam, and it can be reported if you so feel inclined to do so. I don't personally. I've got better things to do with my time. And since I'm kind of not doing rideshare a whole lot these days anyway, whatever. But you know what? He's not the only one who does it. There are actually corporations and other major trade companies that do this as well. And I've been noticing some of this very big clickbait style headlining coming from a site that I don't read frequently, admittingly, but I do read it enough, and it's called GameSpot. Now, I cannot think of too many reasons why GameSpot would end up coming up in my channel. They are a news site, and I think I talk about games probably the least in this. I do talk about them, but not much. But you know what? I started noticing this on my phone when I would check my daily headlines, and a certain headline would keep popping up about movie theaters. Now, as you all know, I love movie theaters. I don't think they're going to reopen in July. I don't think so. At least they're not going to open everywhere, and I think Tenet and Mulan will get pushed back. However, whenever I do keep an eye out, because I'm just kind of waiting for that hammer to fall. When are they actually going to delay reopening the movie theaters again? And actually, I get that headline every day. I click on it, and I find out that it's not the case. It's a story about how, the movies have been delayed reopening until July 31st. And every single time, it's from GameStop. So I searched AMC theaters on Bing, so I can kind of show you what's going on. This is the most recent one. This was uploaded 4 hours ago. AMC theaters won't reopen as planned following big movie delays. And what happens? Well, you click on it. And when you click on it, it says they are pushing its opening date to July 30th. But here's the thing. This isn't new news. It's not. And yet, this is a current headline by Matt Elfring. All right, so let's scroll down a little bit more, and here's another GameSpot article. AMC postpones theater reopening until the end of July following big movie delays. When you click on it, look, Matt Elfring. And now you see it's still this thing, but look, this went up 5 days ago. And then you go back, look, here's a couple more. 8 days ago, AMC theaters reopening delayed to end of July. And then 5 days before that, AMC theaters delays reopening date again after Mulan and Tenet delays. And the thing was, I think this was announced a month ago. So GameSpot, look, 7 days ago, AMC delays movie theater reopening. Is there any more? I'd be surprised if there wasn't. In fact, here let's just do GameSpot. There's 6. So, at least from this search, GameSpot has at least uploaded 6 articles in the last 2 weeks about AMC theaters delaying their reopening, and you only needed one. You only needed one story to actually do this, but they keep doing it every single day, and I think they're doing it because they know people are nervous about the movie theaters. They want to know, are they going to actually be open at the end of July, or are they going to be delayed again? And so GameSpot is tricking the algorithm, and they're taking advantage of people to write articles like this, and they're probably writing the exact same article. Let's see here. If I go to the 13-day one, is it the same current article? Yeah, now it's July 15th. So GameSpot is actually deliberately posting the exact same article, and they're just updating the publishing date. But, the search engine doesn't lie. It shows that, hey, no, you've been, in fact, you can even see, the text itself. It is exactly the same. They're just changing the headlines. This is stupid. I mean, who knows? Maybe it's because GameSpot doesn't have, a whole lot to discuss with the gaming industry, not a lot of games coming out, all that jazz. All these industries are suffering. But I can't stand that. I just absolutely cannot stand that. That is, just one of the shadiest ways you can, get clicks, and it's and at that point, I actually started ignoring them, because now when I see the AMC theaters won't reopen, my first reaction is, okay, who's publishing it? Is it GameSpot? Oh, well, I guess I'm not going to click on that, because it's going to be the exact same article that they uploaded a few weeks ago. So anyway, that was just a little mini rant for me. Maybe not necessarily a story, but a mini rant, and I just had to complain about that. But anyway, I would like to know what you think about it. Do you care about this? Maybe it only bothers me. I don't know. But whether you do or not, I'd love to know. Comment below, favorite, share, subscribe, and as always, flame responsibly. All right, so we've got 20 people. So hey, if you're new here, please consider giving a thumbs up. I would really enjoy it. So let's see here. Darcy says, Kevin, we all know that you and this YouTuber are best friends behind the scenes, LOL. That's why you talk about each other all the time, LOL. It would seem that way anyway. No, we're really not friends. I mean, at one point we were, but then, he backstabbed me, as he backstabs everyone. He's a stupid kid. And, actually, probably, the biggest offense he did was he saw a video by Jay Kruger, rideshare guy contributor, and he copied the topic, he copied the argument, and he even made a thumbnail that looks almost exactly the same. He's a plagiarizer. He plagiarizes, and so no, I don't have time for him. I'm not going to willingly give him information. But anyway, enough about that. He's also not worth talking about because he doesn't care. So let's talk about main topic number, I think this is 5. We had more topics today than I thought we would have. I'm going to have to save one of these topics for tomorrow. Don't worry, it's not the rideshare one. But let's talk about main topic number 5, and it's involving Amazon. Now, this is going to be short, and in fact, in one of the rare instances, Amazon is doing like a good thing, in my opinion. Now, we all know that COVID-19 has wrecked our lives. It's caused businesses to rethink what they're doing, and businesses who are smart and who cared let people who could work from home work from home. Like, really, I know someone who has worked from home for many, many years because of a disability he has, and he said that the only thing that's keeping a lot of companies from not letting people work from home is trust. In most cases, they are equipped to let people work from home. People can, and hey, there's many ways you can track people so that, hey, if they're not doing their job at home, it's easy to see. I mean, this whole fear of like, well, what if they go home and they're not doing anything? Well, no, you can actually monitor what they're doing. It's actually almost more effective because people at the office tend to goof off a lot, so because there's other people there. So anyway, earlier this year, Twitter was the first major company to announce a permanent work from home scenario. And Facebook has been considering a very similar thing, as has Microsoft. Now, no one's actually made those plans yet, and neither has Amazon, but Amazon has said that they are letting employees work from home until early January. And with most of these cases, I think this is going to go on long enough that it's just going to become permanent. So, here's what it says. Amazon will allow employees to continue working remotely through January 8th, 2021. The Seattle-based tech giant previously said it would extend its work-from-home policy until October 2nd. Quote, we continue to prioritize the health of our employees and fellow local government guidance. Employees who work in a role that can effectively be done from home are welcome to do so until January 8th. We have invested significant funds and resources to keep those who choose to come to the office safe through physical distancing, deep cleaning, temperature checks, and by providing face coverings and hand sanitizer. Now, here's the thing. We don't need to read too much about this. I think this is going to become permanent. I think a lot of companies are going to do this because here's the thing. Once we've been working people from home for a while now. At this point, it will be close to a year that they've been working from home. And if they're doing it effectively, well, you know what? Why are you going to ask people to just come back to work at one point? Really, what is the benefit from the company? Or even from, for example, a environmental perspective. If you can get 30% of people working from home, you're taking 30% of cars off the road. That's going to be great for traffic. That's going to be great for global warming. You'd make it 40 or 50%, even better. You would still have your probably traffic jam at 5 p.m. because when people got off work, they might be more inclined to leave the house to go to a dinner or a movie or something like that. But here's the thing. You can do that and you can be great for the environment. And here's the thing. Once you start doing that more and more, then you don't need as much office space. You can actually downsize on your office space. Do you know how much money companies spend on rent? Companies can actually probably cut their rent costs down by 30 to 40% if the vast majority of their employees can work from home. Now, I do know that there are some people who don't like working from home. They like going to work. They like getting a new setting. They, in some cases, they have kids at home, and the kids aren't stupid. They know mom or dad is behind that door, and they can bother them. I mean, I have a friend who's actually, her numbers are being hurt. She's working from home because she needs to for health reasons, but she's there with her dad, and her dad is, frankly, a pretty abusive dad, and he just complains and he distracts her all day, and it's not a good situation. She's trying to move. Okay, now it's kind of this has been the real wake-up call. Okay, no, I got to get away from this situation. But the thing, it's not perfect for some people, but then maybe this is where WeWork becomes successful because, okay, companies start downsizing, they start sending people home, and I think the vast majority of those people would work from home. And they will either invest in a shed in the backyard so they can get their work done in peace, or they will rent an office through WeWork and have some place to go. But I think most people are getting comfortable with the idea of working home. It works. I mean, you can make lunch. Like, you can actually spend your time making lunch. Like, what... I'm not going to tell you what my wife does, just in case our employees are watching. But, I mean, but my wife gets to now listen to music and stuff. Like, and there's no boss to say no. And she's getting her work done. She's still one of, like, the top producers of her work. So, I think this is the way of the future. This is the way of the future. And I'm actually kind of looking forward to it. I'm looking very much forward to it. So, but I would like to know what you guys think. Are any of you currently working from home? And if so, are you going to continue to work from home? I would love to know. Comment below, like, favorite, share, subscribe, and as always, play responsibly. Have a good one. Now then, we have one more topic. Then we'll get into the comments. If you haven't given a thumbs up, please do. But here's the thing. We are now going to be talking about the second rideshare topic of the day. Yeah, I told you there would be another one. So for our final main topic, let's talk about Uber employees. Now, here's the thing. As Uber drivers, we all know that Uber has screwed you over and over and over again. First it was like a 10% fee, maybe 15, then it became 20, then 25. Then they did upfront pricing, so it was somewhere between 20 and 50%. And then they deactivate you unfairly, and then they say like, and hey, look, I'm going to even defend the anti-maskers. Like they say, you have to wear your mask, and even though you should wear your mask, hey, if you're an independent contractor and you don't want to, maybe you shouldn't have to. I mean, it's your own business, right? But Uber controls you. They spend millions of dollars to, fight employment reclassification. And then, of course, they famously fired over 3,000 people on a Zoom call. So Uber is not treating anyone who does any work for them fairly. And they lose money, and you keep wondering, how do they lose money while avoid bankruptcy? Well, maybe it's because they do things like this. Here's the headline. Ex-Uber employees are being surprised by big tax bills. They blame the ride-hailing company. Now, this is a very hefty topic. It's not one that I don't even know if I'm completely comfortable doing it myself, but we are going to try. We might have to read more of the article to figure out exactly what's going on. But here's the article by David Ingram. When software engineer Peter Moody went to work in 2015 at Uber, then one of the hottest companies to work for, he took a deal common at tech startups. A lower salary, but the promise of stock. Which, by the way, that usually works out very, very well. That's how some of these engineers become millionaires at an early age. It just is. It didn't turn out quite as he expected, though. Not only has Uber stock dropped in the past year, a normal possibility, especially during a recession, although it dropped when there wasn't a recession, Uber stock is never good. I would be very surprised if it goes above $45 ever at this point. But in the past few months, Moody and others who have worked at Uber said they've also been hit by huge tax bills, which in some cases may have wiped out the promised reward that led them to work there in the first place. The tax bills have been a surprise that some are just finding out ahead of Wednesday's tax filing. And Uber is to blame for the tax bills. Former employees said, thanks to a little notice, last-minute decision the company made in May 2019 in the midst of the pandemic. And I want to also add, shortly after, the U.S. government said that, hey, the tax deadline is delayed this year, which taxes are due today. So if you haven't done your taxes yet, you should. I did mine in February, so, I like to stay on top of that. But it's interesting that Uber did this when they were given an extension and screwed a lot of people. So anyway, they said Uber, in effect, shifted potential tax risk from the company to them and other current and former employees, from recent hires all the way up to executives. 5 former Uber employees, including Moody, said in interviews that they're angry enough that they're considering suing the former employer. Ray Gallo, a lawyer in San Francisco, said that about $200 million is at stake and that he has 60 people signed up for a class action lawsuit he's planning to file, although the matter may end up in arbitration, because of course it would. The situation raises the questions about the sustainability of the Silicon Valley model of paying employees. If other startups do what Uber did by shifting tax risk, the former employee said, fewer people will risk taking jobs for which they would be paid mostly in promises of stock. This year's tax bill means that years of work Moody put into the San Francisco startup won't pay off as he expected. He said he had planned to put his stock compensation into his 2 kids' college funds. And he says, walking away with no money or very, very little money after selling all of the RSUs was a very real possibility, he said, referring to restricted stock units, a form of stock compensation. Uber spokeswoman Louise van der Laan said the company had no comment. Now that is actually really bad, because how many times have Uber been sued or accused of something? Have they said, we venomously deny this, it's a great place to work? They try to put the best spin on it. There are very, very, very few times where Uber has actually just said no comment. One of the times where they had no comment was when rumors came up like, is Travis Kalanick being fired? And they were like, no comment. No comment. No, Travis is a great guy. We're working with him. Just no comment. So, this is not good. And it's actually a very typical Uber thing to do. I mean, think about it. If you're a driver, Uber passes on the cost of the gas to you. They pass on the cost of the water to you. The insurance, you got to get your own insurance. You need to get rideshare insurance for that, for in between the trips. Health insurance, no, that's on you. Everything is on you, but then Uber gets to say, oh, but the rates are going to change, therefore you're going to be taking less money. All these things. And even on Uber drivers' tax reports, Uber pays you something and then deducts it right away, but you're still paying taxes on it. And that normally hurts what you could get back from the government. So this is not strange for Uber, for that they, do some paperwork and they file things around, and then all of a sudden the drivers are holding the bag. Well, now it appears the Uber employees are holding the bag through these taxes and the bonuses that they might have gotten from the stock options isn't really going to be much of a bonus anymore. Now, it should be noted that if the stock was doing incredibly well, then they would still get a pretty nice little bonus. But the fact that Uber is rearranging things to put the burden on their employees, therefore cutting into the bonuses that they should be getting, like, it's not the employee's job to keep Uber afloat. It is Uber's job to keep Uber afloat. And they will screw every single person working there to get ahead of this game and to make money for themselves. And it's pretty sickening. And yet there are some people who still love Uber. There are still people who love Uber and they don't care and they want to continue. So that's what's going on with Uber. And I know some of you out there are probably going like, well, I don't care about the employees because they don't care about us. It's like, well, here's the bigger point. The bigger point is Uber is just not a reliable company. If you're working for Uber, you have to have your backup plan. Like we talked about it earlier with Lyft, and now this, like you have to have your backup plan. These companies will not protect you. They will not protect you. And the sooner you realize that, the better off you will be in the long run. But anyway, I would like to know what you think of this story. Think this is wrong what Uber's doing? Do you not care? Maybe you think this is right what Uber's doing. That would be an interesting comment. I'd love to know. Comment below. Like, favorite, share, subscribe. And as always, flame responsibly. And with that out of the way, we have gone through our topics. It is time to look at some of the comments. Now, we actually looked at a lot of these comments earlier, so this might not be as long, but of course, thumbs up if you haven't already. Definitely helpful. So, Iceman says, just buy a good mask with a filter and spray sanitizer in front and back of your mask. I never stop driving. Well, if you don't want to stop driving, and I mean, that's what you can do. You could also install that plexiglass thing in the car, and that could probably help you too. Roger said, I got a warning for illegally using the app from Uber. Figure that one out. I don't know what that means exactly, but yeah, that's kind of strange. Let's see here. What else are we talking? Can we see? Noah says there's plenty of literature that says both rider and driver have to wear the masks. I agree. Let's see here. Ryan says, do you think that Bob Garr might have to end his Waltland tour? Oh, absolutely. There's no tours going on for the next couple of years. None whatsoever. Let's see here. I've been worried about this since he'll be 89 in a few months. Yeah, Ryan, I hate to say it, but I think the Walt Tours is over. I think that is over. We're not going to be out of the woods for this for a couple of years, and if he's 89, it's really not safe for him to be doing that. So, I agree. Jesus' name above all names says, I wonder what would happen if the deactivated reapply. Well, you would get, well, that's a funny thing because it kind of depends how you reapply. People who have, I've heard mixed things, like if you have like a different phone number, like you have like a dummy Google number or something and a different email address, even if your driver's license is the same, some people have got back on for the most, but you can be deactivated for fraud and possibly sued for that if you try to do that. So I don't necessarily recommend doing that. But there has been some success in that. Greg says, hi, I drive in San Diego, haven't driven since February 23rd due to the coronavirus. I have a perfect 5-star rating with over 2,000 rides in 4 years. I'm not going to start driving till COVID-19 starts to decrease, as is your right to not drive until COVID-19 decreases. So I definitely support that. Driver Steve says, Uber offered to pay me $30 upfront for 0% commission on the next 50 Uber ride requests. Anyone else get that offer? I have not heard that offer, but hey, if you want to email that to me, that would be an interesting. I'd like to look at that and see what that's about. So Greg says, not worth the chance I'm getting sick. I hope they don't deactivate me, but if they do, I have backup plans. Good that you have backup plans. Craigslist said, class action lawsuit time if they are deactivated for this. Well, and that's the thing. If Lyft is deactivating for this, they're not saying it. They're saying it's safety issues, but we don't know what the safety issues are. And then it's really shady. It's extremely shady that Lyft is also deactivating the star grades, everything. So you can't even go over your account and see like where the problem was. They're hiding that from you. So it's extremely shady what's going on. Let's see here. Slick Nick says, Lyft keeps sending me bonus offers to get me back on the road. It's not going to work for me. Yeah, that's typically what they do. Like, I mean, it was said like a long time ago when there was like the first strike, someone said like Uber has and Lyft have the perfect anti-strike insurance, the surge. Because when you start striking, surge goes up, and then it's like, well, hey, why am I striking? I can go make some money now when they break the strike. And, well, yeah, when you stop driving for a while, they will give you bonuses to get you back on the road. So, yeah, if as a part-time thing, if you want to make like a lot of money, just wait a while, let them offer you a bonus, get your bonus, stop driving again. And, let the cycle repeat. You're not going to make a living doing this, but you might make some extra money. So, let's see here. Dual beacon of lighting is here. Let's see here. Ryan Schroeder says, do you like HBO Max more than Peacock so far? Well, HBO Max has been around for like a month now, and Peacock is just a day old. But yes, so far HBO Max is better. And in fact, HBO Max, some layout problems aside, which they still haven't fixed, content-wise is much, much better. In fact, in a week, I'll probably be doing an episode where I rank all the streaming services and of how favorably I think they all are. So, we might do that. Let's hear. Driver Steve says, I don't watch TV nearly as much as I used to, unless it's educational in some way or informative, like how to get a credit card as an independent contractor. I'm not watching it. Well, getting a credit card is not difficult if you're an independent contractor. Basically, you just have to use the use the credit cards like that you currently have and just pay them off and just build your credit back up. That's what most good credit is. So, Sicknick says, oh yeah, I read that already. Let's see. Ryan says, surprisingly, The Great Piggy Bank Robbery, The Scarlet Pumpernickel, and What's Opera Doc weren't on HBO Max at launch. Well, one of the things about the Looney Tune cartoons is that, especially now that we're going through like kind of like a re-examining of political correctness in animation, a lot of those old cartoons are considered too violent or they're considered racist. I mean, people are, in some cases, they're not entirely appropriate for families. In some cases, they're totally overreacting. This is why I think for vintage movies and cartoons, you're still going to need DVDs and Blu-rays, because that means, okay, if you're buying this, you clearly want it and we can contextualize it. So I don't think you're ever going to say I can complete Looney Tunes collection on HBO Max. I think some of these will go up. I can't imagine why What's Opera Doc might be offensive unless the fact that they're making fun of Bugs and Elmer cross-dressing, because that you can't make fun of that anymore. So I don't know why some of these cartoons aren't on there, but here you go. I love the Peacock emoji, dual beacon driver. Let's see here. Ryan says, I haven't. They didn't have too many things that I would really see myself watching going by your video, with the exception of the Alfred Hitchcock film. So you're not going to pay for Peacock. Is Netflix your number one favorite streaming service? No, it's not. I think Hulu might be my favorite streaming service. I think when I break it down, I watch Hulu more than anything else. So, Ryan also says, I saw the video that you did on Kaleidoscope. Are you considering getting it? No. Well, I am in the future, but it's way too outside my price range. However, when I have my own house and I have like an IMAX TV in that house, then yes, one day I will definitely be upgrading to like a big... In fact, one of the things I'm going to be doing probably is that my parents are going to consider like remodeling the garage to a new room, like a bedroom, so they don't have to climb the stairs anymore, because they've decided that they just do not want to sell that house. It's got too much sentimental value, and if you sell the house, they would get a much smaller place for the exact same amount of money so it doesn't really work out for them. But they're considering like investing some money and turning the garage into a room, especially since they don't put their cars in there. Now, I'm going to be inheriting that house years down the line, and if they do that, and I hope they don't, I hope they stick around for many, many more years. But when it's time, and I own that house, and me and my wife are living there, we might just turn that garage room into a theater room with like the big screen, and the Kaleidoscope will just make it like this really, really nice theater room. So that's kind of something I'm thinking about at one point. But again, I love my parents, so I hope they don't die anytime soon. In fact, my dad's coming to visit in a couple weeks, so, that's going to be fun. I already responded to driver Steve. Slick Nick says, I'm open to work from home. I feel safer from the virus. Well, a lot of people do. And also, you're just safer. Like, people go into work with, like, colds and flus all the time. I don't know why that's part of our culture, but we do. And that would be one way where, hey, if you want to work, you can still be sick and work and just, you won't be bothering anyone. Cinema Fan said, so far I've been using Mobi, Clickworker, and Play Test Sound to make money from my smartphone. I'll have to look at those and see what they are. Victor Braverman says, doing Uber Eats, making great money, will not drive. Most people have switched to Uber Eats. Cinema Fan says, is Roadie a good idea to use at this time? Roadie was never really a good idea to use for that time. I've made videos about this, but the problem with Roadie is that I think the people who use Roadie expect way, way, way too much. Because the whole idea is like, okay, you're heading somewhere anyway, can you pick this up and drop it off? And, a few times that has happened for me. Like, someone said, hey, like, this is going like 3-4 miles away, can you just, okay, I'll pick it up and, collect $10. Not a big deal. But you start seeing things like people want you to, like, bring, like, a couch or a giant king-size bed from New York to California, and they want to pay you $50 for it. It's like, so Roadie's just, unless Roadie makes a system where the prices are a lot more realistic, like basically preventing people from saying like, hey, can you bring this thing 3,000 miles away and we'll pay you $25 for it. Unless they change that, I don't think Roadie's ever really been a good idea. Slicknick says, I'm holding off on driving until things start to ease off and some restrictions are lifted. I agree. Now, what's interesting, Ryan, is your member badge went from yellow to orange, so you must, during this live stream, you must have hit another anniversary milestone. That's neat. Ryan says, do you still use Uber or Lyft when out of town? I asked you about it a long time ago, but the answer might be different now. The sad thing is I do, but I make it a point, and people who have picked me up and recognize me can attest to this. I am a very, very generous tipper. I usually give a $10 bill. If I don't have it, I will tip heavily in the app. And I even sign as the Apptrepreneur so people know that it's me. But I'm not going anywhere anytime soon, so I'm not going to be doing that at all. So here's the thing, Uber and Lyft is convenient, I'm not going to lie, but I do try to avoid it if possible, but when I do have to use it, I tip the driver generously. Which, if people tipped very generously, it might not even be that much of an issue. Like, if you were making an average of $5 to $10 tips every single ride, then, well, shoot. I mean, let's just do the calculator. Let's say that you are making an average of $5 on a tip per ride, and you do, 30 rides that day. That's $150 extra. So if people are just being good tippers, it might not be too bad, but people typically weren't being good tippers. Now, I'm hearing it's very different with Uber Eats. Uber Eats and DoorDash and Postmates, if you're doing all that, you're getting much better tips these days. So good for all of you guys. Let's see here. I Am Corn says, cool, I like theaters too. Yeah, me too. Slicknicks, have you been getting UI or PUA? If so, have you experienced any delays in getting payments? I am currently getting a form of government assistance, and I was not delayed very much. I consider myself fortunate, though, because I know a lot of people who have not been so lucky, and their payments have been greatly delayed. In fact, there's at least one person I know who applied in May, and they're still waiting to hear back. Heck, I don't even think that they've got their stimulus check yet. So they're one of the people who have actually just stopped paying rent because, I can't pay rent right now. I'm not getting anything. So it's scary how it is. But anyway, thank you everyone for joining me and leaving the comments and asking the questions. I really appreciate that. So if anyone hasn't given a thumbs up yet, please do. Really appreciate it. For everyone else, thank you who are watching this in the future. Thank you. I would have cut them up in individual videos, but, there you go. If you just got here, though, and you want to know what's going on, I will be cutting up all the topics into individual videos for here, the Apptrepreneur Vlogs, and the Failed Journalist. So check out all those channels to get the stories. Subscribe to all of them. Comment, all that jazz. So, and as always, flame responsibly. Have a good one.